I got an iPad and started taking preschool apps into classrooms and realized how conducive it was to early childhood education.
And look for EC Wireless.
We were able to find the money. So today is the training, and then starting next week, we will be bringing these iPads to preschoolers. So we're very excited.
I really see it as a tool. And is it going to overtake all of our teaching and learning? No. But it's an excitement. It's helping build 21st century skills.
They do amazing things, and I think it's going to be a great educational tool for our preschoolers.
I'm excited about getting the education myself so I can pass it on to my students.
I'm a little nervous. Technology is not my strong suit, but the kids love it, so I'm kind of excited.
Today we'll be doing a basic iPad 101 training. We'll be looking specifically at the iPad, all the buttons, how do I turn the volume up, how do I turn it on, how do I put it to sleep.
The opportunities are endless. Trace letters, vocabulary, bring books to life.
For literacy, writing skills, mathematics, science, rhyming activities, for games, for turn taking.
A communication tool with students who are learning English and help them build their foundational skills.
I would absolutely love to use them with our kiddos with IEPs as a language device to help them communicate. I'm hoping it replaces some of the adaptive equipment we use in our classrooms now.
Kids will learn colors such a different way rather than just, there's a picture of a butterfly. It's like, here is a real butterfly.
Using the iPad from the speech and language perspective is going to be all about building communication. To have the children working in teams or in small groups using the iPad, and right there you're working on turn taking, you're working on socialization.
If you have kids that are having trouble paying attention, you can really pull them back in by showing them something new and fun.
I have a little guy that's learning colors, and that's hard for him, so I looked at that butterfly thing and I thought, I think he's going to get his colors real quick.
I'm excited about taking video clips of the kids playing and learning how to load that onto Gold.
Immediate portable access to the internet.
I would love to get articulation cards on here. As a speech pathologist, sometimes it takes forever to find the cards that you want, so.
Learning how to use it as a assistive tech, device for kids that are not verbal.
I'm excited to use it with children with autism because I think that they love screens, and having that as a motivator to get them to use language more often and perform tasks and learn, I think will be very motivating.
The kids learn by touching and by moving, and when you're using an iPad, you have to touch and move things on the screen. What I've seen with young children so far is the learning is just tremendous.
As an app maybe becomes more mundane for a class or a child, you can begin to search for something new. And so it's not like a book or a toy that you have to put back on the shelf.
I mean, it's endless. It's absolutely endless.
I think that initially one of the biggest challenges will be figuring out how to make that work in their day. They already have a lot on their plate.
It's a very expensive device, and there's always that safety issue and what will happen if it falls or a child drops it.
If you have a spare second and you go and you could get sucked in, instead of paying attention to the kids, you're going to be paying attention to the iPad.
We're already battling the television as a screen and the computer and computer programs as a screen with children, and now we're putting another electronic screen in front of them. So
the thing I'm fearful about is always using technology, that kids just don't get down and play in the dirt and sand and just play.
We talk to our teachers all the time about being intentional, and so that's why we're trying to be really thoughtful. We're going to be talking with staff a lot about how can we do this in small groups and build social emotional skills around this.
It is kind of uncharted territory. For this current school year, we're just getting the teachers and staff used to having them in their classroom.
I think it's just going to build enthusiasm. And so I think anytime teachers are excited about learning, kids are excited about learning.
Technology is advancing, and as the children go through K through 12, they're going to see those advancements, and starting them early is the best plan.
So we'll see.
It's been a month since we've introduced the iPads, and I think it's going really well. From the kids' perspective, it's highly motivating. There's a lot of instantaneous feedback. Most of the apps have sounds, different colors. We can bring concepts to real life, so that engages them. We started small with apps, but the apps we chose, I think, have been really, really helpful. Some of them are open-ended, like a drawing, so that students could just get comfortable with using their fingers and being able to draw and write letters. Quite a few of them have more concept development in mind. Letter-sound connections, counting, colors, those kinds of things. But all of them have student success in mind, so none of them make kids feel bad if they're wrong or anything like that, which is what's so great about all the preschool apps.
It's very intuitive. Once you show them once, they figure it out, and if they don't, a friend can help them with it.
In all honesty, I think it's hard for the teachers alone to juggle, one more thing in their classroom.
It involved a lot of teacher help because they all wanted to play with it at once. They're very appropriate in how they play with it, but they do need help taking turns. So we've come up with a system where they write their name on a list and then use a timer. And they're getting increasingly independent. And in playtime, we try to go in and help the kids and then fade away. But at this point, it still takes a lot of teacher help to keep that running smoothly.
Teachers alone, I think it's one more thing to add. But because we have an integrated setup, speech and OT have been really integral in making sure that they are being used in the classrooms.
From an OT perspective, there's so many different media that you can use that really motivate the children and make it more interesting. It has different colors, it's a different thing for a child to tactily touch, the visual feedback, and they also have auditory feedback. Carson is a fairly new student here, and we don't really know how much he can do in the fine motor area. So today I introduced the iPad to him, and I asked him to just trace. And then I realized that he needed a visual model. So he copied each letter of his name and traced it on the iPad.
Okay. We have used the iPad when we're writing letters, and it's a fun way for them to do it instead of always using dry erase markers or paper.
Well, it was fairly easy for me to learn, but the kids do have trouble keeping their finger on it to drag things. So they're just all getting used to it. It's progressing, but they're still learning. I've been finding the iPads really useful through choice time, where the kids get to choose what game they're playing and how they want to play it and take turns. Anthony can stay engaged in it. The iPad gets his attention. Also, it's really good for him to be able to interact with his peers by passing the iPad and taking turns and doing the game together. It's a great turn-taking device, which is good for his social skills. Georgie is one of the kids who uses applications like the drawing, and he can also do the manipulation of the puzzles. It's really working for him on a higher level than some of the other kids who are just doing the counting games. Another way I've really enjoyed using the iPad in my classroom is during story time. We did a book about a parade, and I actually got to show them a parade from our hometown and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was coming around the corner. So they really get to relate the book to real life.
Well, so far it's been going really well. The kids have loved it. Particularly my Spanish-speaking children are spending time with it. They are working with other children. I'm hearing more English, hearing more language. The children are intrinsically motivated to work. I can work with them on skills and goals and objectives they need to be working on. They're doing great. I love it. I introduced it first of all with the program for writing. So working on fine motor skills, working on letter recognition and writing letters. And then I got to know the applications, working on specific skills. A little guy working on colors, I'm using a color application. And from that to kids working on rhyming. I guess differentiation would be the word.
I'm getting a lot of requests for more apps. We did start small, and that was based on feedback from the school district, where they gave social studies and science like 30 apps to begin with, and it was too much.
You know, as a teacher, we're always trying to scaffold it higher. So sometimes when the applications are too low, I feel like we're going lower than their skill level. So for it to be successful, we need to really keep up to date on what apps we have and make sure that they're challenging our kids.
Being careful about how much time I let some children spend on it. I don't want them to miss out on other types of learning activities, but that's completely within my control. I simply put them away.
I feel like kids are playing video games, they're watching movies at home, and I think we really need to be careful that we are limiting screen time, because this, for some kids, is the only time that they have where there's no TV on, there's no radio on. It's about kids. It's not about what the adults are doing. It is about play. It is about appropriate play, and it's not about TV and computers, cell phones.
Should we have classrooms built around the use of iPads? No. But should we be able to offer that to preschoolers? I think yes, because iPads in preschool are an amazing way to get kids hooked up with technology and have them be successful. Everything in moderation.
My favorite thing about the iPad would have to be the children's enthusiasm for learning from it. I can hear them out there right now. Very excited.
Technology engages the youngest generation up to the teenage generation and beyond. I'm engaged by technology. I think it's going really well. We want what's best for all of our students. I just wanted to make sure that our preschoolers have access to what was happening in the rest of our school district. So you got to take that leap, and I feel like that's what we're doing. So where do I want this initiative to go? I don't really know what the future holds, but I'm good with that.
Thank you.